Hey guys, and welcome back to another League of Legends Champion Guide. Today's guide is about Poppy, the Keeper of the Hammer. So let's get to know a little bit about our champion.
I'm no hero, just a yordle with a hammer.
Okay, so you want to play Poppy. The first thing that you gotta know is how much does she cost? Well, at the time of making this video, she's 450 IP and 260 RP. So if you have an interest in playing her, she's gonna be really cheap. Poppy is primarily a top lane tank champion. I've seen her played in the jungle and as a support, but I haven't played her there myself, so we're gonna do this guide about Poppy in the top lane. For Poppy's masteries, I go 12-0-18, picking up Courage of the Colossus for the shield it gives whenever you use your E or your R ability. Courage of the Colossus has a 30-second cooldown between shields, but it makes for a very great engage whenever it's available. The amount shielded increases for every enemy in your immediate vicinity, so it really makes it great for diving headfirst into a team fight. For Poppy's runes, I'd start by picking up attack damage marks, flat armor or scaling health seals, flat magic resistance or scaling cooldown reduction glyphs, and finally I'll round out my runes by picking up either attack damage or attack speed quints. For Poppy's summoner spells, I pick up Flash and Teleport. Flash can be used to engage an enemy or to escape from one. It can be used to set yourself up for a heroic charge or to dodge a skill that would otherwise end your life. Flash is never a bad option on a champion. I mean, who really can't benefit from having a short-range teleport?
Just had a thought. 3 pigtails!
We use teleport for many different things with Poppy. Early game, we can use it to get back into lane and not miss out on minion kills and experience, and then as the game goes on, we're going to be using it more and more so that we're able to split push and still make it back for those team fights.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, hammer!
This is my general spell order with Poppy. I start by leveling her Q first, then her E, and I finish off with her W. I put a point into W early for the passive that it gives, and I also put a point into R every time that it becomes available. Poppy's passive is called Iron Ambassador. This skill makes it to where every time Poppy's auto attack is off cooldown, her next basic attack becomes ranged and does extra magic damage by throwing her buckler. Her buckler will then bounce off of the enemy and land nearby. If you make Poppy walk over the buckler, she'll gain a shield for a percentage of her HP depending on her ability power. If you manage to get a kill with Poppy's buckler, you won't have to go and pick the buckler up to get the shield. It'll get automatically applied to you. The range from her passive can help with getting minion kills when you're prevented from getting close to the minions with your matchup. The shield given from the passive can make it easier to get close for the minion kills or to trade with your opposing laner. Keep in mind though that if the enemy champion steps on your buckler, it's going to disappear, and the enemy might know to play around your passive just as you will be.
A Demacian, a Noxian, and a Freljordian walk into a tavern. The barkeep asks, what'll it be? The Demacian says, I'll have a wine. No, wait, an ale. Yeah. And then the Noxian says, I'll have a wine. Yeah, he wants a wine. And the Freljordian says, I'll drink anything so long as... Wait, hold on. Let me start over.
Poppy's Q ability is called Hammer Shock. It does 35 to 115 damage depending on your skill level. It scales with attack damage, and on top of that, a flat 7% of the target's maximum HP. It slows everything in the attack area, and after 1 second it explodes, doing all of the initial damage over again to anything still standing in its radius. You can do an insane amount of damage with Iron Ambassador. The only problem with it is that it's a very small area of effect, so you're going to want to maximize where you place it. Poppy's W ability is called Steadfast Presence. Just by having a single point in this ability, armor and magic resistance for Poppy is increased by 15%. And when Poppy's HP drops below 40%, the bonuses are actually doubled and increased to 30% bonus armor and magic resistance. And when you do use Steadfast Presence, Poppy gains a burst of speed and an aura around her that prevents dashing by knocking enemies up into the air and doing damage. This affects anyone trying to dash either towards Poppy or even away from Poppy. Dashing doesn't include abilities that actually teleport the champion a short distance, like Flash or Ezreal's Arcane Shift. This move is great for heading into battle and making sure that your prey can't get away, or for running away from a battle and making sure that jungler can't come in to gank you. Poppy's E ability is called Heroic Charge. With this ability, Poppy dashes towards an enemy champion, dealing 50 to 130 damage and bringing them with her. If you and the other enemy champion collide into terrain, you're going to do double the damage and stun them for 1.6 to 2 seconds.
Now, back to finding that hero. Okay, I admit it. I'm lost.
Stunning an enemy champion into a wall will do a bunch of damage and make a good time to use your Q ability. Poppy's R ability is called Keeper's Verdict. When you start holding down R for this ability, Poppy will start spinning her hammer over her head to charge it up. While charging the hammer, Poppy can still walk around, but she's slowed by 15%. You can charge for up to 4 seconds, and when you finally let go of R, you're going to send any enemy's hit towards their nexus, doing 200 to 400 damage. If you let go of R immediately, Poppy will hit any enemies within melee range of her straight up and do half the normal damage. This ability has many great advantages, from knocking away half of the enemy team in a team fight to give your team the advantage, to stunning someone in place so that your team can catch up and get in for the kill, or maybe just to knock away somebody who's come to try to gank you. It really can be a game changer when used in the right time and place. For Poppy's items, I'll generally start by grabbing a Corrupting Potion. It helps give sustain by restoring 125 health and 75 mana and giving your abilities and basic attacks 15 to 30 extra damage over 3 seconds. It has 3 charges and refills every time you go back to the base, so it keeps you from having to place money into other potions. I'll then rush Balmy Cinder for the constant nearby damage per second. Then, depending on who I'm laning against, I'll either finish my Sunfire Cape or get a Spectre's Cowl for magic resistance and build the Sunfire Cape after. I'll either grab Ninja Tabby or Mercury's Threads depending on the other team's composition, then grab a Sheen to really increase my damage, and either finish up my Iceborne Gauntlets if we're up against heavy AD, or finish up a Spirit Visage if we're up against heavy AP. At this point in the game, it really depends on who on the other team is the most fed. If I end up building Spirit Visage instead of Gauntlets at this point, I'll sometimes build the Sheen into a Trinity Force instead of building the Gauntlets because I won't be rushing it as much. Once I have that built, I have a 4-item build and I'm going to be very tough to take down, so I'm trying to make it even tougher to bring me down. So I'll opt into buying a Guardian Angel. It has great stats regardless of who you're up against, and it has that safety net for running headfirst into battle. Now for a 6th item for Poppy, depending on if a game actually lasts long enough to get a 6th item, it's really going to be situational to what you need in the game. But if a game does last that long, I've put some suggestions in for possibilities I might go for a 6th item. Now don't get me wrong, this is just a suggestion as a guideline for something you might go to build on Poppy. You shouldn't always go for the same build, and you need to find out when certain items are better than other items for Poppy. I'm just trying to give an example of how I do it so you have a place to start. Early game Poppy can be quite enjoyable or a really big headache. Some matchups it's very easy for Poppy to get in and get her minion kills without too much of a problem. Then in other matchups you're just going to want to manage to live and hope for a visit or two from your jungle. Either way though, if you can manage to stay close enough to get experience from minions and get your CS when it's safe, you're probably going to scale really well into the late game. Poppy has an amazing scaling potential and doesn't need to dominate early game to do well.
If you're waiting for me to give up, you might be here a while.
Mid-game Poppy, I try to keep my eye on the rest of the map. I try to look for lanes where the enemy is overextended, and I look for wards where I might be able to teleport down and either get a kill or turn a fight in our favor. Be very careful doing this though, because you don't want to teleport down to another lane unless you're comfortable with what you're doing and you know you're not going to miss a bunch of minion kills back in your lane. Making a teleport play can be huge in a good way or in an extremely bad way, and for that reason, sometimes it's just better to focus on your own lane. Late game with Poppy, I try to split push whenever I can. I try to find a lane away from the rest of my team where I can kill minions and keep wards up so that I can track enemy movement towards me. I try putting pressure on that lane so that the enemy team will have to send multiple champions to deal with me. If multiple enemy champions come to deal with me, our team is going to have a numbers advantage on the rest of the map. If they don't end up sending something to deal with me, I'll continue to place pressure and possibly even take an objective. Only really split push when you have a way back to your team with teleport. If you're gonna split push with Poppy or any champion, you really gotta be able to have map awareness and know when the fights are going to break out and when you're going to need to break out your teleport. If you're not comfortable split pushing, that's okay. Just stay more with your team and help them initiate some killer team fights. With as tanky as Poppy gets, she can be very good at charging into a team fight and helping to make it go in your team's favor, provided that your team actually follows you in. They're standing right there beside you, full HP, and we had them outnumbered. Why wouldn't they? Damn solo queue.
Seems you left your brave pants at home. Want me to wait while you go get them?
In the end, I think that Poppy is a very fun tanky champion, even after considering all of the nerfs that they've done to her and Courage of the Colossus. So, try taking that Yordle out in the field and show your foes who the true hero of the hammer really is. Until next time, pieces.